Hello everyone, it's Varus, and in this video I'm going to give you a full update on the tropics, a severe weather forecast, more on the alerts, what's going on in the US, and more in this video. So let's get right into it. So a lot of tabs and things to go through today. So first we're going to kick it off with the alerts in the nation. Central US, very warm and hot. You can see excessive heat warnings and heat advisories for much of the central U.S., including areas of Missouri, the full state of Missouri, actually, areas of Illinois, Iowa, Arkansas, the whole state, even most of Oklahoma, and just one county not in there. But overall, lots and lots of severe heat advisories, especially even Mississippi. So very hot conditions, and there's actually a severe outlook for these areas. And I think there's already some severe thunderstorm watches issued up and posted. So gonna keep an eye out on that. But there is your quick look right there. Now talking about the West, we have some fire issuances and indices. So that's been a consistent theme this whole entire summer, to be honest. So yeah, keep an eye out over there, and some dense fog advisories as well. While the East remains quiet, but it is actually hot with many 90s and 80s up there in the East and Northeast. Getting into the severe weather outlook, I do want to actually I'll probably take a closer look at this, but here's today an enhanced risk. Just gonna run through it. Tornado risk, we have a 2% for much of the area, so a low chance, but a chance for sure. So some brief spin ups are not out of the question. Wind is the main driving enhanced threat, with a 30% and a 15% hatch risk, so almost a 15% on top for air, or 10%, so 40% for these areas like Nebraska, Iowa, northern areas of Missouri, and Illinois. Lastly, the hail risk is a 15%. So main threats are definitely going to be wind, lots of cape, lots of energy, and with that northwest flow coming out of the northwest, we have that's what's really driving the severe weather, and we have the most ingredients right in this area, therefore causing the aforementioned enhanced risk. So please be careful out there. Take a look at your radar. Stay updated with local forecasts, and yeah. Day 2, slight risk and marginal risk, 2% tornado, 15% wind, and a 15% hail in the slight risk hotspot right around South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota. So keep an eye out for any severe weather over there. And lastly, a marginal risk and severe risk and a slight risk for the Midwest could be mainly just wind and hail with a small tornado risk possible. Lastly, you're going to take a look at the day 4 through 8 outlook, and as you can see, nothing really issued for now. Now we're going to get into the tropics, a very hot topic in the weather world today. Right now, I'm going to really focus on the Eastern Pacific, because that's what is having, that's the area that's having the most activity. So let's take a look. We have disturbance 1 right here. The highest chance of development, 90% in the next 48 hours, 90% in the next 7 days. So this is likely to form into a tropical depression, maybe even as early as tomorrow. So very soon we're going to have some development with that. Disturbance 3, 0% in the next 48 hours, though a 70% high chance in the next 7 days. So some very conducive development is definitely likely, some slow conducive in development. As soon as it gets in more variable areas, it's definitely going to likely develop. Lastly, disturbance 2. This doesn't really have much of a chance. 10%, 48 hours, 30% next 7 days. So, I mean, you could keep an eye on this, but taking a look at modeling and forecast doesn't really have it developing. Mainly just has it lingering and dissipating. So, not really paying attention to these. But these two over here, definitely want to take a look at. Now, real quick, this disturbance right here, disturbance 1 to 90% in both the 48 hours and 7 days. This is what it looks like on IR. I'll refresh the data. There you go. Okay. So, well, this is what it looks like as of 14:55 Zulu time. It looks very healthy. Lots of convection. Here, let me get a better color. Lots of convection blowing up. I mean, you have convection everywhere. You do have some steadier, you do have some outflow. Okay, so overall, it's a very healthy storm. Lots of cold cloud tops, very good convection popping off. So overall, it looks very healthy for its current conditions and how it looks right now. Now getting into ensembles or like the forecast, what we're gonna expect. Let's start out with the Euro ensembles. Let's go out with 90 hours for now. Just taking a look. And I mean, you can see why Disturbance 1 has the most chance. I mean, you see the most ensembles with that. Strengthens into a tropical storm pretty soon. That's Disturbance 2 over there, and then another disturbance behind it, which is that third one. Now getting into the 180 hours, another 90 hours, and there you have it. I mean, you can see Disturbance 2, I mean, it really loses a lot of support, but Disturbance 1 and Disturbance 3 have a lot of support, and you can see it really suggesting that these two could really get into tropical storms and hurricanes. Let's go out the full 240 hours, and you just see that Disturbance 1 eventually gets to like a tropical storm hurricane, but then kind of drops off, while Disturbance 3 behind it looks to get even stronger than the first disturbance, and even some bring it kind of close to the coast of Mexico. But overall, it doesn't look like too much of a threat with land. Lastly, going to get into the GEFS ensembles. This one's all over the place. Let's back it up to about 90 hours. And there you have it. Similar idea. Disturbance 1 with the most support. Disturbance 3 following it. And Disturbance 2 with the least support. Now getting into 180 hours. You see it kind of... Disturbance 1 actually takes a more northerly track. Disturbance 3 kind of just lingers. And, or that's Disturbance 2. Disturbance 3 behind it kind of starts following Disturbance 1. Or 94E. And strengthens into a hurricane / even major hurricane. Some of the models are showing. We'll just go to 240 hours out, and you see Disturbance 1 and 2 kind of just lingering, while we have Disturbance 3 back here into very strong hurricanes or even major hurricanes, some getting very close to land, and then you see even more support possibly for another early developing system behind it. So very, 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 very active Eastern Pacific right now. Let's talk about the Atlantic, as we have one disturbance. However, that disturbance could threaten land as it continues its trek west-northwestward. 60% in the next 77 days and 0% in the next 48 hours. So let's watch out for that. We can take a quick look at it on IR, and you see it does not look very healthy. Very spotty cloud coverage. I mean, just doesn't look very healthy. Literally, really looks like no convection. So not healthy, but as it gets into some more conducive environment, we should see some slow development. Getting into the ensembles, let's start out with the European ensembles, starting out with 90 hours. You see that we do have quite a bit of support as it treks west-northwestward into the Bahamas. Let's go 180 hours out and see what that shows. And boom. Let's just zoom in right around. Yeah, let's zoom in like right here. Let's just see what it looks like overall. Oh, that does not look good. Oh, sorry about that, y'all. Here, let's get right back into the right around to the North Atlantic. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. We'll just take a look out here, okay? Because there's a lot of spread. Honestly, you have ensembles all the way up here, and you have ensembles all the way down in the southeast. But overall, what the Euro ensembles show is a west-northwestward trek. Then, as the ridge right here, remember the steering current's going like that. That's what's really propagating this west-northwestward and eventually northwest. We have another ridge over here that you can't really see here, but we have another ridge that develops right here. We have a trough over here, and overall this ridge kind of goes like this. This trough also kind of has a flow like this, and therefore that really just pulls the system close and then just out to sea, which is what most of these models are showing. But it all depends. I mean, you have some recurving way out to sea, and then you have some actually landfalling in North Carolina and then recurving and just barely riding the coast. So many solutions, some strong solutions showing tropical storms, some weak tropical depression, but most show hurricane or even a couple showing a major hurricane. that's the Euro ensembles. Taking a look at the GEFS ensembles. Sorry about that. Let's see. Let's go out right around. Let's just go to 108 or 90 hours. Let's just see what it shows. I mean, see, literally, look at that. That's wow, nothing compared to the Euro ensembles. Absolutely nothing. And then going to 180 hours, you see a couple lows. I mean, more support than it was having last time. There's only 21 members in the GEFS, but I'll count these up. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Around 13 ensembles out of 21. So that's actually some support, but it just doesn't look that, like consolidated. I mean, you have lows over here in the southeast. You have a low all the way in the western Gulf. So, and then you have the most support in between, having systems in the eastern Gulf / central Gulf. So overall, we'll have to watch out and see what happens. But overall, it just doesn't look as impressive as the euro. So like take a look here, and then you take a look at the euro. Complete different. You see lots of euro ensembles agreeing and taking it out to sea or riding the coast, with only a couple being stray. And then you take a look at the GEFS. Complete different story. So, I think this is the correct one then. Yeah, let's take a look. Yeah, complete different story. So, here, let's do one more. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah. So, overall, that's what we could see. So, again, main point, just really uncertain conditions with that system. I mean, right now it's kind of like right here. Lots of uncertainty. Could recurve north, could get into the Gulf, could do something in the middle. I don't know. Lots of solutions and uncertainty. So something we'll have to fine tune as we get further into the future. Lastly, taking a look at the CDAS Nino 3.4 index. This is what's driving our hurricane season. Okay, El Nino, which is kind of up here, represents a less active season for the Atlantic, more active for the Pacific. La Nina represents more of a active Atlantic, least active Pacific. And I mean, taking a look at the history, we had it going from El Nino to kind of like La Nina neutral, and then actually spiked back up, and now it has had a really, like, it's been, it's the farthest, it's the most it's been cool in so far. So you see it kind of go, cool, warm up temporarily, and then cool right back down, and then we should see another quick warm up or like a little lull in activity as westerlies are starting to concur. So that's the Nino 3.4 index. I just wanted to tell you because now with this recent push, it's actually helping to throttle our activity in both the Pacific and Atlantic. So, and you might be asking, well, if the Nino 3.4, if the La Nina actually represents a less active Pacific, why are we having more activity in the Pacific than the Atlantic? And that's actually a really good question. We also have something called the MJO, the Madden-Julian oscillation, and that has multiple phases that represent sinking air and rising air. Right now we have rising air in the Pacific, sinking air in the Atlantic. We also have much drier air in the Atlantic and much moist air in the Pacific. And lastly, to top it all off, we don't actually have a La Nina right now. Yes, we are yearning towards La Nina territory, but La Nina is negative 1.0 Celsius. Right now we're almost at negative 0.5 Celsius. So we're kind of like at a neutral-ish La Nina leaning phase. So that's why it's also not a complete La Nina, and effects from the previous El Nino is still lingering as the atmosphere is still kind of changing and adjusting. So a lot of talk. Wanted to give you guys full information. I'll leave timestamps so you guys can get to where you gotta get. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.